First, how were soldiers recruited at the beginning of the war? At the beginning of the First World War, the government didn't expect that the war would last very long. The Prime Minister announced that it would be business as usual, so he decided to rely on volunteers for the army. Watch the following clip, then pause the tape and note down the ways that volunteers were encouraged to sign up.
In August 1914, Britain had an army of just 100,000 men. This British expeditionary force was sent to Belgium to bolster the French line, but they faced a German army of over 2 million. Lord Kitchener, the Minister for War, called for volunteers, appealing to British patriotism, and the response exceeded all expectations. Within a week, 175,000 men had come forward. Within a month, that figure had risen to 750,000.
These are examples of propaganda cartoons the government used to encourage people to volunteer. How did you do? You should have noted that the government used posters and appeals to men's families. The most famous method of recruitment in 1914 was posters. The most famous of all showed Lord Kitchener, but there were many others. You should also know that there were songs, and actresses in music halls appealed for volunteers. At one point, a local mayor appealed at a football match. But as the number of casualties grew, fewer men came forward. In 1915, the tone of posters began to change. Pressure was put on men by implying that their children might ask awkward questions after the war. Women were asked to persuade their husbands, brothers and sons to volunteer. You should also know that suffragettes tried to force men to sign up by the White Feather campaign. They stuck white feathers in the lapels of jackets of men who weren't in uniform. Sometimes they even spat in their faces. That's the end of the section on recruitment during the First World War.